Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a bit of a different one. This is going to be a Canadian soldier reacts to a U.S. Marine reacting to Canadian boot camp. So I am a former Canadian soldier. I joined the Canadian Forces in 1987. I left in 1998, and I've spent my entire career in the 1st Battalion of the Royal Canadian Regiment. And that is one of Canada's very few SSF battalions. I ended my career as a Master Corporal, and that is the 3rd rank up. So there's Private, Corporal, Master Corporal. So in American equivalency, Americans go Private, Corporal, Sergeant, or E5. So it's about the same equivalency. I was a combat commander leading a section of troops, sometimes acting platoon warrant, or sergeant warrant. You know, I was a Master Corporal, but leading a section of troops in actual theater. I've seen this before, but I wanted to react to a couple of things that are said in here. Now, I think this video was done in the 2000s, so there's going to be a lot of things that are different from what I went through. So let's take a look.
Canada's basic military qualification training. Isn't that a mouthful? Let's take a look. Let's go.
Okay, so first of all, isn't that a mouthful? No one, at least when I was in, called it basic military qualification training. We called it basic. Or we call it TQ2 and TQ3. This would have been called TQ3. Just basic.
This week on Troop Duty Valor.
This is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, this is something else I have to address. I live in the States now, and people tease me down here all the time for the way that I say the word about. This girl, and I always hate it because I don't think I say about differently at all, but this girl, what she just said makes me cringe.
This week on Troop Duty Valor.
This is what I'm talking about.
5 recruits face the mud, sweat, and tears of Canadian.
Say 14 weeks, right? So this is boot camp, basic training.
So that's another thing. When I went through, it was only 10 weeks of basic training, TQ2, and then we did another 13 weeks of trades training, TQ3. For me, that was battle school, learning infantry section tactics and all of that stuff.
For the Canadian military. Let's take a look at it. A lot of you guys have asked for it, so why not take a look at how Canada does it, our neighbors to the north.
Forces basic military qualification training. The
Tongue twister.
challenge of their lives.
Okay, I guess all of us were civilians at one point in time, but I don't ever remember looking that inept. It's just, maybe I'm just too old now.
Basic training. Adventure for some. Nightmare for others. If you want to join the military, you've got to go through BMQ. Canadian Forces Leadership and Recruit School in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, Quebec is where it all happens.
So I didn't go through this. When I went through recruit school, was CFRS, Canadian Forces Recruit School, Cornwallis, and our infantry training, battle school, was at Petawawa, Ontario.
Their motto, learn to serve.
Boy, this announcer's a drama queen. A nightmare for some. I mean, it's
Kinda,
boot
yeah.
camp. It's not fun because you're young and dumb. Let's see.
Well, there were some people that it was a nightmare for because they were stupid.
I'm shitting grin in her face.
And we come here for BMQ, which is basic military qualification.
Basic training is a requirement of every soldier in the CF.
Okay, this guy's Air Force. All of my instructors were combat arms. I had infantry instructors, PPCLI, no, RCR, weird enough. PPCLI, we had artillery, and we had tankers, but no one that looked like this.
Must have this qualification. You cannot go any further without.
When you get here and you pull up in the cab, your heart starts pounding like crazy because you really,
It looks like the Soviet embassy in Havana. It's definitely not a pretty building.
That's true.
That's not the point, right?
Kind of second guess.
None of our buildings are pretty.
Yourself, you know. Okay, this is it. Do I really want to walk through those doors or not?
God, she's old.
She's old.
Most
All right,
people
question for
watch
you
it.
guys, my Canadian friends. What's the age max on this? I did some homework on it, but I didn't get to the age max because that was an old lady. For boot camp, right? These kids look young, but she looked like she was relatively on the old side of things for boot camp.
Yeah, so I think, I could be wrong here. I think that's changed recently. There's a magic formula that they talk about for retirement, basically, which is 2055. You have to serve 20 years by the time, not by the time you're 55, or be 55, something like that. To make a long story short, I'm not 100% sure there actually is an age limit anymore. It's just, can you get through basic training? I think. I'm not 100% sure.
And then it starts.
What?
The yelling starts, the marching, the whole bit. So then you're standing there and it's like, holy what have I done?
We're gonna set up a time so you can buy this stuff! I'll break you right now, whoever needs stuff mechanics. Over here!
It's getting after Marty.
Huh. So this is something that you're going to see is a big difference between Canada and America. And I'll talk about it in some future videos when I look at some American recruit school videos. But in Canada, we'll yell at them if we need to, most definitely. And, you know, we can jerk them around when we need to, too.
Follow Max Cope, cut set, he'll take you there. Get him up! Your hands on your back,
I
heavy!
started right from the beginning. We were strictly regimented,
Another
marching
old guy.
everywhere. I shaved off my hair. I had to start shaving every day.
Oh,
Getting a
Muffin.
haircut for a couple of reasons.
Boy, this guy, what do you think he was getting to? He had to
It's true.
get up on time, shave his face, get a haircut. You know, I know they can make anybody look like an idiot, like a dumbass, but he definitely fit the bill.
That was a stupid thing
One
to
is for
say.
hygiene, that's the most important one. You don't have to take care of it. It's just quick, get up, shower, you're done. The other reason is because when you're in the field,
Why is he telling them?
and you're in combat,
Yeah, this
you
is
can
weird.
take advantage of something like this, and grab it, and this, and once they have the control of your head, the rest of the body will fall.
Okay, that's absolute bullcrap. That I have no idea where he got that from. He made that up off the top of his head. I was a combat arms instructor. In fact, I ran my own martial arts school when I was in Petawawa, and that's absolute bullshit. 99% of the time, you're going to have either your helmet on top of your head or a hat or something. Anyway, they're going to take that. That's dumb.
Follow. Your hair is extremely short. There's nothing for them to grab onto to throw you to the ground and take your life.
He's just
The
being
left hand
dramatic.
is on the strap. The bottom of the
All right, that's the first time I've heard that one. So they shave your head in the military or boot camp and keep short hair to keep the enemy from grabbing your hair.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to say if it gets to that point, and that's truly the reason, which I don't think it is.
It's not. It's discipline.
Things have gone really bad.
And
is touching canvas.
I think a lot of that's gone now, too.
CC bag. Understood?
I like that.
Are we clear? Yeah.
Yeah, so at this point, this is discipline. This is getting them all uniform, getting them all doing the same things the same way, and getting them used to doing what they're told to do. That's it. That's the only reason they're doing this.
Miss Home?
No, Sergeant.
You want to go home?
No, Sergeant.
I can get you home.
No, thank you,
You don't have to
Sergeant.
be here.
I won't be here, Sergeant.
You can go sit down with Mom and Dad.
No, thank you, Sergeant.
No?
Yeah, so this kind of thing does happen.
Wife, maybe? Girlfriend?
All
This is just the sergeant screwing around.
You know, very disciplined.
All right, so let's get back to the premise that the instructor had. You want to keep the hair short, right? In case the enemy goes to pull it in a hand-to-hand combat. But yet, that lady had her hair long. So,
Yeah, exactly.
said this another video, let's shave all the heads for equality and to protect against the enemy grabbing your hair. go back a little bit.
Well, so it's my understanding, and again, I've been out for a while, but I think they have gone, unfortunately, they went the other way. Rather than shaving all the girls' heads, I think they've now said that the guys can now have longer hair. And I know there's new facial hair requirements too, which are far less strict.
You'll see him mentioning that.
And then just like, oh, how am I ever going to get to being at that point? And
Less than 24 hours in, still wearing their civvies, new recruits get their first taste of life on the other side. They call this Week 0.
Week 0 is very nerve-wracking for them because it's the first time a lot of these people have been away from their parents for the very first time, away from their wives, their family, their children, away from home. I mean, how God...
Wives, family, children. When I went through, everybody on my course was 18, 19 at the most. Maybe one guy had a wife. And actually on my, on my basic course, I'm pretty sure there were girls in one wing. We had an H hut, double stacked H hut, so there were 4 barracks. I can't remember if there were girls in one or not. We're talking 87 here, so. Yeah.
Guys like us and other instructors who are telling them, no, this is how it's going to be. And a lot of these kids have never made their beds before, have never done laundry before, never sewn before. And teaching that, it's very overwhelming.
Now, if you grew up in we'll call it a strict household, right, where you had to make your bed, you had to do your own wash, you had to take care of shit. It's not a big deal doing the basics that most people do. I did. My mother was very strict. She had a military father. So to me, that part of it was super easy. You know, you shave your face, you make your bed, you show up on time. For some people, not saying the Canadians, but some people it's a big issue, especially in this scenario. It looks like they're giving them a little more flexibility than, say, you know, my experience is the Marine Corps boot camp where they're screaming and yelling and every minute of the day you're busy and there is no telephones. I don't know if they've got here or television. Let's keep going.
Well, okay, so this is what I want to address, and I'll get more into it in another video. But, and again, this one is being run, it looks like, by Air Force, Navy, or non-combat trades. So maybe this is a little more lax than mine was. But if a recruit needed to be corrected, he was corrected, and he was corrected hard. There were a number of pressure tasks that they had for us that they would do. They kept us busy all the time, but they weren't in our faces screaming at us constantly. If we weren't screwing up, they weren't in our faces screaming at us like the shark attack that the Americans do. Honest to God, I've been a recruit and I've been an instructor. I find that shark attack to be absolutely idiotic. If you need to get in their faces screaming because you're correcting them, absolutely do it. But if they don't need to be corrected, treat them like adults.
nothing like I expected.
If you want part 2, put it in the comments.
Fitness levels of all backgrounds from one side of the country to the other.
Approximately every year there's about 7,000 personnel that go through this school, be it non-commissioned members or candidates as well.
Taking an individual
Interesting.
who
Officer
has
candidates.
never seen military life, and
That's
after
new.
13 weeks, having them as a full-fledged military member within the Canadian Armed Forces. That's basic training to me. It's a total life transformation, really.
It takes a...
I will admit, it is amazing what they can accomplish, Canadians everywhere around the world, in 13 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, during wartime, 8 weeks, how they can get somebody who's totally clueless with respect to the military and get them operating somewhat as an organization, somewhat as a team, understanding quite a few things. It's amazing what you can accomplish. You yank away the television, you yank away a bunch of free time, and you stress somebody. It's amazing how quickly people can adapt.
Courage for someone to walk through that door.
But for us, it was,
Courage.
like I said, 10 and 13, so 23
Those
only.
who make it through the first 20.
Remember, this is just basic training. All this does is qualify you to take your actual trades training. You still have to pass your trades training in order to get anywhere else. And again, for us, it was battle school.
24 hours at St. Jean Garrison face another test. 24 hours into basic training. It's time to see who's got what it takes and who doesn't. The express test evaluates stress, stamina, and strength.
This has changed a lot since I was in.
Express test, they call it.
Four tests. First test is a 20-meter shuttle run. Second test is the hand grips. After that, we go with push-up and sit-up. Do you have any questions so far? No. So we're going to take your pressure, high blood pressure, and your pulse for the beginning. And when it's done, you sit over there in 4 ranks with your team.
This is their initial physical training. If they fail 2 of the 3 strength tests, they will be recoursed to what we call the RFT, the Remedial Fitness Training Program. They will then have 90 days to bring themselves back up into...
We used to call that the pork chop platoon. So I think he called it remedial training platoon, whatever. It's where the fat bodies went who couldn't do the exercises. Hate to be so crass, but it's just what it is, right?
Yeah, so we didn't have that. We just, if we failed anything, including our fitness, we just got recourse. That's what was called recourse. And you just get sent back to another course, and you did everything again. And if your fitness wasn't up to it the next time, then you just kept getting recoursed until eventually they toss you out. I think, yeah, we had like 3 or 4 that got recoursed for fitness. We had one guy who got recoursed because he couldn't figure out how to salute, but that's a different story.
And then we was just back into another platoon.
They're looking pretty good so far.
This is interesting.
Usually they're a little bit nervous for that test, for the high pressure and the pulse, but so far they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, we didn't do any of this.
The youngsters are pretty nervous. We've been telling them, we give them a schedule. Okay, this is your PT test, and if you don't fall within the normal parameters that we require of a CF soldier, then this way you will be removed from this group. Then you'll have to start over with another group.
So for us, it was, I think it was a 1.5 mile run in 12 minutes. It was, I want to say 50 push-ups in 2 minutes, and I can't remember exactly. It was a certain number of push-ups in 2 minutes and a certain number of sit-ups in 2 minutes. And then we had to do a 10-mile ruck march in, I think it was 2 hours or 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that. And that was it. That was all that we did.
Pretty disheartening for a lot of the new troopies because they just got to know these people, even though it's only been from 48 hours to whatever, at that point, depending on the schedule, they've bonded quite well with each other because this is all they know. This is
some yes, some no. I hated a few guys by 48 hours.
Quite attached to each other.
It's elbows in the front.
So it looks like they take your pulse to start with and your blood pressure, right? So they take that, they stress you.
Oh, there you go.
Exercise.
Follow me.
They give you time to take it again to see how quickly you recover. Good idea. That tells you what kind of shape you're in, right? So if you're in good shape and you walk up 2 flights of stairs, in a minute your heart rate's going to go down, your pulse is going to go down. If you're out of shape, it's going to stay up because you're out of shape. I don't know that it really matters if you can do the exercises and your pulse is still high and your heart rate's still high. Does that really matter in the scheme of things? Maybe it doesn't happen. What do you guys think? Put that in the comments.
So when I went through, 2 things were very different. First is they actually, when I was still a civilian, they sent me, here's the standard you're going to have to pass. Okay, so I actually started running and doing push-ups and stuff before I ever went to Cornwallis. And then the second thing is they do this actual fitness test at like, I want to say week 8, or they did it around week 8, I think. At which point we had been running with the platoon every day. We had been doing PT, I think 5 times a week, I think. So by that point, they knew either you were in shape or you just weren't working hard enough, and which is why they would recourse them. This looks like it's more designed, I think it's more designed to get more people in, people who, because with my course, you needed the drive, the personal drive in order to want to make this. This, I think they're giving you a lot more help I'm thinking that they just want more recruits.
And it's going up, top the top of your knee. And when it's going down,
I remember that. One. If you don't do it correctly, they just keep counting the same number.
To stay within the platoon, but the biggest determining factor to remove them from the full training program, actually right off base, is mental. It's all up to them. They may determine that at some point that this is too much stress on my
that happened.
Or this is too much stress.
There was a guy that left after day 3.
As a whole, and
did you leave after day 3? Did you not know what you were doing?
5 seconds. 5.
Well, gauging the level of stress for somebody who's not used to stress, so he's saying, hey, they determine it's too much stress on them. Well, of course it is. When you've been puffing cigarettes and eating bonbons on the couch, it may be too much stress for a lot of Americans. I don't know that that's the best barometer to say, well, it's too much stress for me, I want to quit. Don't know that's the case here, but it sure sounds like it. What do you guys know about that? Can you just quit this program? I don't think you should be able to in the beginning at least, because there's going to be a lot of quitters. They're not going to get to do what they want.
4.
Yeah, so, I mean, I get where he's coming from. I understand it, but at least in our time, they were looking for the people with the drive. They would absolutely, for the first little while, they would freely let you quit. I don't know, there was a couple of different spots. Like, I think for the first week, they let people walk. And then after that, they wouldn't let you walk, and they would recourse you. And I think you could still get out, but it was harder, if I remember correct. I don't know, because I didn't try.
3, 2, 1.
A couple of people false started.
How's this little job for?
This is their shuttle run. Yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah, I'm really pleased.
I don't know.
All right, I don't know what that was. Like, I've seen old people run faster. I'm not sure exactly what.
Yeah, so what they're doing is they've got basically a metronome kind of a thing. They've got to make each run in a certain amount of time, and I think it gets short. The amount of time gets shorter, and there's a certain number that they've got to get to, I believe. I mean, I've done shuttle run. I haven't done this particular one before, but like I said, I've seen it. I don't know. Maybe it's good.
What that was a test of. Can they jog slightly in an air-conditioned gymnasium?
Yeah, that's not what they're doing.
Yes.
They just didn't show it correctly.
That's all there is.
Congratulations, everyone. What's going to happen now?
Let's clap. Yay! Good job.
Yeah, if you don't get there by the time the beep happens, then you're disqualified and you're out. If you don't make the right number, you're done.
The CF Express test is over. The recruits hit the showers. The results...
All right, maybe I missed something. Maybe I'm being too hard. Maybe I'm an old fart. That didn't seem like much to me. They did some sit-ups, some push-ups, and did a little jog. All right. I don't know what that's. They're human. They're not 50 years old and crippled.
I think it's just enough to get in.
Test. Now, I know this gets harder, but that was pretty soft.
That's pretty soft.
Gotta be honest.
Leaving weights. A little encouragement gets them moving.
Whack that stick, man.
Let's go. Get a move on in there. Tell me get moving. We're going to do the test on a 10.
Yeah, okay. So let's go get a moving on there. Let's get moving. Yeah, that would not have happened. If a Master Corporal Sergeant marching NCO has to rap on your door and tell you to get moving, he's going to be a lot louder than that. I think this guy just did this for the camera.
Now, don't worry, you didn't make it, lazy.
It's the same. Dozens of new recruits arrive at St. Jean Garrison. Within 24 hours, some don't make the cut physically. Some don't make it mentally.
Wow.
Definitely you cry a lot that weekend. You just need to get a hold of your family, need their support through it all.
What is that cap badge?
That first week was...
It did not look like a cornflake.
I had this discussion this morning on the live stream I do on Twitch, and the question was, or the comment I had was, if my children are in the military and they're going to be a logistics person, specialist, I want them trained to the hardest, highest standard possible. I don't care what service they're in. Why? Because they get deployed and they're overseas, and for God forbid they got to pick up a rifle, do something, get on a convoy because they need a body. I want them trained to that level. Again, don't care what their job is. I want training to be as hard as possible so that they're safe as possible. I'm looking at this from a parent standpoint. That's somewhere where my comments come from. You know, to protect that person, in this case, the Canadian recruit, I want them trained to the highest possible standard, hard as hell. I don't care if their job is pushing papers, but if necessary, they know they've got the willpower and the steam, right?
Yeah, so in Canada, that's referred to as you're a soldier first. And to be honest, it's kind of, they pay lip service to it. But I agree with what he's saying. I mean, to a point. Everyone needs to be in physically fit condition, and they need to be able to handle a weapon, and they need some basic level of tactics. Honestly, in most of the trades, that is all but totally ignored. Some of the, don't get me wrong, not everyone's like this, not every unit's like this. Some of them are really good about it. But I've seen far too many where it's just completely ignored.
A lot of what have I gotten myself into mixed with
going to Costco.
See, I didn't have that, and I'm having a hard time understanding people who do. Like, I knew this was the Army when I joined up. I knew it was going to be hard. I don't understand people who get there not knowing what they got themselves into. I don't understand how you can do that.
Fear and excitement.
If you want more videos like this, look at the card above.
Yeah, okay, so, you know, I don't want to be that guy that says, oh, things were harder in my day. But a lot of that did look a little bit easy, but I think a lot of that was the camera and the camera work and the people who were doing the camera work not understanding what was actually going on. But anyway, there's another one of these, and I'll do a reaction to that one later, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see more, leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, take care.